So Bill,
Yes.
now the evaporating cloud is definitely one of the most popular tools.
And one of the most versatile.
Yeah, precisely. But how you go about doing it is very important.
Yes, it is.
So, what would you describe as the correct process of doing an evaporating cloud, and why it's important to follow that process?
Wow, that's a tall order. Okay, let's start with the construction of the cloud itself. The most important thing is to make sure you have the correct objective for the cloud. And nominally, this is an objective that is common to both sides of the conflict. It need not be, but it usually is. And second, you have to have the requirements of each side in the conflict. The requirements are non-negotiable needs that must be satisfied. And then lastly, you have to be able to articulate very accurately what the two contending sides are contending about. The process of identifying the goal and the requirements has always been problematic for most people, and that has given them the most trouble in constructing the cloud.
Why is that, would you say?
The reason is because they are only vaguely aware of what the overall objective is that would be common to both sides, and in many cases they can't think of one. And they are missing, in many cases they're conflating the contending positions with the requirements. They believe that those are absolutely non-negotiable requirements, when really they are wants rather than needs. That's probably the most difficult part. The thing that makes those a little bit easier to resolve in the logical thinking process is that the goal tree can be used to provide the overarching goal of both sides and the two requirements. If you have a well-developed goal tree, you can locate each person's position in the tree, and then you can figure out what they are trying to achieve in common and what needs they're trying to satisfy. It can come together in about 15 minutes that way. However, once the evaporating cloud is fully structured, then it comes to the point of coming up with an alternative, an injection to break the conflict. The most crucial task, breaking the constructed tree cloud, is to identify the underlying assumptions on each side of the conflict, because those will invariably contain the key to coming up with an alternative that will work to resolve the conflict for both sides.
And now, just recently, I saw somebody presenting an evaporating cloud and the solution to the evaporating cloud injections, but actually without going through the process of surfacing the assumptions. And to my mind, that's not entirely correct approach.
Well, I would have to ask you, why did they suggest not dealing with the assumptions?
To simplify it, because as it was stated, it would be easier for people to understand it if you didn't have to go through all that rigorous process of surfacing and then testing the assumptions.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. So, in essence, what they're saying is, well, let's drop out the most important part of the process and we'll just throw darts in the dark.
And what I thought of was actually a few years back when I was assembling some IKEA wardrobes. And what happens basically is if you try to assemble IKEA furniture without following the instructions,
you're going to get to do it twice.
You're going to get to do it twice,
or maybe three times,
or maybe three times. And that, in that context, it basically brings to my mind, okay, the question: how is it going to be easier to do it if you don't follow the manual, because usually following the manual is intended to make things actually easier and simpler for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. And the most difficult thing is not the identification of the assumptions, actually, unless one chooses to make it that. The most difficult thing for most people is getting the 5-element structure put together.
It is, yes.
And once that's together, it shouldn't take more than 10 or 15 minutes to finish the rest of it, including the review of the assumptions.
Yeah, precisely.
Well, if nothing else, I hope that this little discussion has provided effective warning about the dangers of shortcuts in constructing the evaporating cloud, and by extension all the other trees as well.